Hello my loves, welcome back to Zeke's Lunchbox. Today we are going to talk about the tarot card project. If you're new here, I feel like I have to say this every single video I talk about the tarot card project, but if you're new here, I'm working on a tarot card deck. I've been working on it since 2018, so quite a few years now. The whole process is documented on this channel, and if you want to catch up on the progress and the conception of it all, from all the highs and lows, I will pop a playlist down below so you can catch up and really get to know the project and all the progress that's been made over the last couple of years with the project. I haven't talked about the project for a couple of weeks on the channel just because I've been really busy actually just working on the artwork and, you know, really trying to pump out 2 cards a week, trying to stay on top of the channel and all the other odd roles that I have to do during the week, as well as take proper weekends, which I'm very, very strict about nowadays. But yeah, I haven't talked about some of the cards for a long time. I haven't really been documenting the creation of a lot of the cards because I've just been really focusing on pumping them out. Where we are currently at, there are 13 cards left out of 78. So we all know I can't math. 65 cards have been made. 65 cards have been made. That is insane to me. That's a lot of art. I've never made that much art ever in my entire life. All right, I believe that's everything that we need to know to get us to this point. This video is going to be chatting about 3 different cards in the minor segment of the tarot card project. I will pop them all up on screen, and I never get to talk about the cards thoroughly and retrospectively, so I asked you guys on the community tab on YouTube, Instagram, and then also in my Facebook Zeke's Lunchbox group. If you want to join that, I will leave a link down below. I asked you guys all over the internet what you wanted to know about these 3 cards, so we are going to go through and answer those. Before we head into it, I just want to let you guys know that I am having a shop sale. It's the end of the financial year and I would really like to clear out a lot of the older prints that are on my store, clear out the enamel pins that are on my store, get you guys some amazing deals and start fresh with the new financial year. So if you use the code EOFY15 at checkout, you can get 15% off everything on my store. No minimum purchase, and I do international shipping as well. So get yourself something good, get yourself some little goodies for your room, for your office, for your space in general. It really helps out the store and it really helps boost this channel and helps the lights stay on. Thank you so much for everybody who has supported so far. All right, thank you for hearing my plug for the shop. Before we head into it, one more thing. There is a little secret reveal that I will show you guys towards the end of the video in the outro. So make sure you watch that. It has to do with the tarot card deck. I am getting new samples in and I want to show you guys one of the samples because it's very exciting. So watch till the end to see that, and let's go talk about these cards. Okay, so we're gonna go in chronological order. First of all, let's talk about the 2 of coins. I asked you guys on socials some questions. I got a bunch of questions about the symbolism and the process. I'll talk about all the cards and the process and the meaning of the cards and try and give you as much information as possible about like what was going through my mind when I made these cards. And then I'll kind of, you know, bounce around back into the questions to make sure that I've covered everything. For those of you who aren't familiar with tarot cards, and believe me, I've been doing it for, you know, almost three years or so, and I'm still finding it really difficult to memorize everything because there are 78 cards and you have to memorize, you know, all the information that goes with those cards. Eventually, a lot of the symbolism is kind of obvious, and a lot of the symbols are pretty similar throughout a bunch of cards. Sometimes the symbolism and the meanings are pretty instinctive. For me, I found that really interesting how, you know, symbolisms just through culture and history and instinct can be kind of universal. Like everybody, no matter what language or whatever their background is, I find it really fascinating that these symbols are universal. That being said, let me go back to the minor arcana segment. There are a major arcana, a minor arcana, and then within that minor arcana there are court cards. So the minor arcana are very similar to regular playing cards, and they've got 4 different suits. So instead of aces and spades, it's got a cup, coins, or pentacles. Coins and pentacles are interchangeable. Swords and wands. Now, the coins you know, have a pretty simple overarching theme throughout. They're all about finances, but financial stuff is often a bigger symbol of trust or family, you know, the systems that come along with money. The Two of Coins is a card about balance, a card about some possible financial hardship, and sometimes it can also mean going with the flow. I will pop up the original tarot card from the Rider-Waite deck, which is the deck that I'm referencing all of my art on. This card has, I believe, a jester balancing 2 coins with a infinity rope in between. I guess the infinity for me, when my initial reactions to the card are, yeah, that's going with the flow, kind of rolling with the punches, knowing that finances have an ebb and a flow. Finances have peaks and valleys, and if you get this card, it may be something telling you to either appreciate the high or know that the low is going to be temporary. And that's kind of what I wanted to try and capture as much as possible with this card. With a lot of the minor cards, you know, I often use animals or people to really evoke those emotions and be the surrogate person that we're meant to project ourselves in. You know, it was a real challenge a lot of the time to take away an animal or a person and make the suit, the coin, the wand, the surrogate, the inanimate object that we have to almost anthropomorphize. And that's kind of what I really wanted to explore with this card. I wanted both of the coins to feel like they were alive, whether they're alive in a way a plant is alive or, you know, 2 amorphous blobs are alive. I wanted them to feel like they were communicating with one another. One is higher than the other, you know, symbolizing the peaks and the valleys when it comes to money, but they were still entangled in this complicated mess to balance one another out. And not just that, they had to exist together. They don't work separately. They work as a set. I get a real masculine and feminine vibe from these 2 coins. You know, one of them is the female and one of them is the male. I think mostly because the way that the direction of the plants are heading towards. One is out, one is in. Those 2 things are two-spirited and they work together. I got one question from somebody who asked why the plants that I've chosen. Thank you so much for asking that question. Yeah, I'm not too sure how they came about. I knew with the coins I did want to have a theme of plants throughout because the color palette that I had planned, it worked out to have a lot of like purple backgrounds and then green highlights. So that worked out already. That was a lucky coincidence. The lily pads, I think, were more just I had them lying around already. I was going to use them in the Ace of Cups already, and it just felt like that plant was a lot easier to draw than a lot of other plants because it's just a circle that's flat. And I had already made a couple of other plants that looked a little bit similar. Basically, what I'm saying is it's a recurring plant throughout the whole deck, and I try and have a lot of the same symbols or the same images kind of repeat throughout the whole tarot deck, so it is a collective body of work and they are all working together and they look like a set. The ocean is another common thing that I've been doing in the minor arcana. I think oceans are, you know, another good representation of that ebb and flow. Yeah, the ocean is really there because I had that element already and it's easier for me to like place it in. You know, some of the things are very purpose made, and then some of the elements in a lot of the cards are there because I had that element already drawn, and to save on time, I wanted to use it again. Let me know if you guys get a anthropomorphic vibe from these cards. I do like how they feel alive. They feel like they're communicating with one another, and that was very much the intention. I believe that's all I really have to say about the Two of Coins. All right, you guys, the next card that we will be talking about is the 9 of Coins. Let me just quickly describe what this one looks like. So we've got 9 coins in a row, 3 by 3. When I discovered just putting them in a row 3 by 3, it was like I had all of these other compositions that I was going to do with the coins. I was going to do them in a really complicated formation. Often simplicity is just so underrated. It's easy to read. It's really strong and stern and recognizable. You can count how many coins are there straight away, so it's just bang right there, you know? So we've got coins in a row 3x3 with a grapevine interweaving themselves throughout the coins. The coins all have a pentacle star in the middle with a little hole in the middle of the coin as well. I wanted to do a coin that had a hole in the middle. For me, it reminds me of like Chinese money, lots of Asian money, and you know, that's a little tied to my Asian heritage. For some reason, I really felt a strong connection with this particular suit and family. We'll get more into that with the 10 of coins. I guess, you know, family and money are all like very connected. So yeah, I just felt a much stronger connection to that. And I guess also out of the 4 suits, you know, a sword is not something I use on a daily basis, neither is a wand. So I guess to those particular items, I don't actually have a personal connection to. A cup is kind of inanimate as well. Like that one, at least we use a lot more in our daily lives. But again, that's more like a tool that we just don't really think about. But a coin is something that we think about, you know, almost every single day. Maybe we hold it every single day. The coins was very much what I related to the most out of all the suits. Also, on a side note, I really loved working with this color palette. Now, the most popular card that I made in the Major Arcana was the Strength card. That color palette along that whole purple plane really inspired this color palette. I love exploring that color. Obviously, I'm wearing all purple right now. This wasn't on purpose, by the way. Let's finish describing the card. We work our way down the grapevine to a finch who is covered and blinded, and they are sitting on a little pile of grapes. Now, I will show you the original card here. The original card has a woman in a field with grapevines around her, and she's holding a finch. My version's pretty much a little remix on that. I'm nodding to the grapes, I'm nodding to the little finch, and obviously the coins are there as well. Going into the meaning of this card, I found that it was a little redundant to have the woman there as well as the animal, because I felt like the animal could do a good job at representing the story that needed to be told in this particular card. Also, for the sake of time, I'm avoiding doing humans in the Minor Arcana, apart from the court cards. The main numbered cards, I'm just avoiding humans altogether because for me, it amplifies the Major Arcana cards as much as possible. All right, let's get into the meaning. Could mean independence, success, profit, wealth, prosperity, maturity, elegance. Independence really was like what I was wanting to go for. Reversed, it could be dependency, financial dependency, working too much, deceit, basically devaluing yourself and your ethics. Now, I wanted to do the finch because for me, the finch was a good symbol of that freedom, that innocence, and that femininity as well. For me, what comes to mind is you getting in your own way or being blinded by yourself. I liked that little duality of the finch being a symbol of independence, but also maybe being blinded by your own self. I believe the grapes are about prosperity. I always think of them being fed to somebody. They are indulgent. And I guess, you know, that's what the card is really trying to say. It's an indulgent card. It's a self-reliant card. All the cards all have at the end of it, they all have something talking about balance, you know? The inspiration for this one, I just got inspirations directly from the actual original card. For me, it's really about taking the cards and seeing what I can do to edit them and how can I make them my own. Somebody asked me if they could see like concept sketches. The problem with a lot of the Minor Arcana cards, and this is why I haven't really been showing the process with them, is there's not as much process like there has been with the major cards. With the major cards, I sketch them, I research them, I do color blocks. They're very, very involved. Whereas because the Minor Arcana cards are done digitally, I mostly start off with all the other elements that I've already drawn. So I will look at all the other cards that I've already made and pick and choose, and if I can take that element and then put that into the current card. So I kind of start off more with a collage rather than a sketch. Yeah, I wish I could show you guys more of the process stuff, but it's a bit of a non-starter. It's very much like I already have the elements, I'm kind of sticking them in there. With this one, however, I still had to draw all the original leaves. I had to draw a brand new finch. I chose to do the bird because I already had a bird from the one of the swords cards. I thought I could use that bird, but once I started playing with it, I basically had to draw a whole new bird. But I did have the mask already, so I took the mask from that card and popped it in. All that being said, when I take in those elements, they might not be the correct color, so I have to play around with hue and saturation and change them digitally. Even then, the tones won't be right, so I still have to customize that popped in element. So there's always so much work that goes into each individual card. Yeah, I'm cutting down a bit of time by like copying pasting elements like the coins and the backgrounds, but there's still a lot of original pieces in there. All right, let's move on to the last one, the 10 of coins. And lastly, the 10 of coins. So the 10 of coins originally, to me, what looks like a little cityscape with family and money is kind of surrounding all of them. I think I did start off with a composition basically replicating the positioning of the coins in the original card. Let me talk about the meaning of this card first off. The positives could be a large sum of money, enough money to help future generations, a family business, a family of your own, or tradition. Some negatives are traditional values which hold you back. Oof. A family which is a negative influence on you, or restrictive culture. This card really for me is about family, what family represents, and what family and money represent together. You know, family could be a burden financially, or it could be something that's very prosperous. For me, with my Asian background, I felt like this was a very, very personal card. I wanted to do something that kind of represented my family or represented Asian culture in general. Look, I'm not Japanese, I'm Filipino, so it's not like a bonsai represents Filipino culture in any way, but I liked the idea of a plant being handed down generations to generations. A bonsai is something that lots of generations may potentially have to take care of, much like a big sum of money is something that generations have to take care of, if we're so lucky. So I liked that the bonsai represented that as a symbol that you hand down with money on it, but also it represents a family tree. It felt very layered, and yeah, making this card felt very personal. It felt like a real ode to family for me. Again, I didn't have an original sketch. I very much was like figuring it out on the go. The texture of the fluffy leaves on this particular plant I had already done in the Magician. I believe some of it is in the Ace of Swords. It's basically a texture that I've been recreating in a lot of the cards, and again, to make it a full body of work, I didn't want to recreate anything or constantly reinvent things. It just doesn't feel necessary for a body of work. Recycling things I feel like is necessary with a body of work. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. It's the end of the video. It's very chilly in Melbourne, Australia right now. It's June and July are brutal months in Melbourne, and it often forces me to wear a beanie inside my house. It's that cold. You guys, thank you so much for watching and for always turning up and supporting, and just for being here. It always makes a huge difference. Before you head out, 2 things. Let me know, out of the 3 cards that we just discussed, which one is your favorite. It could be your favorite for aesthetic reasons, or it could be your favorite for the meaning behind the card. Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you learned something new, and if so, I'm really happy that you did. We are getting closer and closer to the Kickstarter for the tarot card deck. So for everybody who waited till the end, I want to show you what the potential pouch is going to look like that will house the tarot card deck. We're still working out all the kinks with what all the little goodies are going to be in the Kickstarter. But for everybody who waited to the end, this is the potential pouch that the deck will be sitting in. So you can see it's got the Zeke Zeke's Lunchbox label. It's got the Arcana Moth logo on there, which is, you know, basically the image that is the logo for the whole tarot deck. Really happy with like the fabric of it all and the color. We do want to make some changes. As you can see, the design is a little bit wonky, and also the ties, I'm not too keen on keeping them black. We all know black is just like not my branding whatsoever. If you guys want to see what a deck is going to look like with the pouch holding it, that is what it looks like. It fits a standard tarot deck, and now your tarot deck is safe and will get to you guys hopefully without any issues. I'm really excited just to see all the tiny little branding bits and bobs, and yeah, I hope you guys are getting excited to finally get this tarot deck. It's all anybody talks about with me, so I'm grateful and really happy. The second thing that I want you guys to do before we head out, head over to my shop at zekeslunchbox.com and use this discount code for 15% off at checkout for my end of financial year sale. It makes a huge difference when you guys shop on my website. There's still a pandemic, which means there is still a financial crisis for all the makers out there. It would mean a huge deal if you guys could go over there and support my art, support the channel. It makes a massive difference. You have no idea. All right, you guys, I will see you in the next video. Subscribe and like, obviously. See you later. Bye.